In November 2023, the overall inflation rate rose to 28.20%, surpassing October 2023 rate of 27.33%. This indicates a month-on-month increase of 0.87%. When compared to November 2022, the year-on-year headline inflation rate was notably higher, marking an increase of 0.73 percentage point from the 21.47% recorded in the same month the previous year. Additionally, on a month-on-month basis, the inflation rate for November 2023 was 2.09%, showing a 0.35% increase from October 2023 rate of 1.73%. For November 2023, the year-on-year food inflation rate stood at 32.84%, marking an increase of 8.72% point from November 2022 rate of 24.13%. Core inflation, excluding the prices of volatile agricultural products and energy, reached 22.38% in November 2023 on a year-on-year basis. This reflects an increase of 4.39% compared to the November 2022 rate of 17.99%. And to talk about this, I'm being joined live by Opeoluwa Taiwo, Executive Director, Africa Bridge Initiative. Glad to have you join me.
Thank you for having me.
What do you think are the primary drivers of high inflation rates in Nigeria, and how do you think, do you think these can be mitigated?
So for Nigeria, the economy is not smiling. The SME are crying, the citizens are suffering. The inflation rate, talking about the 28%, is killing. Where do you go from here? What is the way forward? Number one, when the economy is not sustainable, when the SME space are not well safe in terms of running business, both internally and externally, the consumer price will go up. When the consumer price goes up, the effect will be on the inflation. The inflation rate will go up. Why do we have the inflation rate going up on a monthly basis? In fact, recently we are talking about even on a daily basis. This is as a result of the fact that, number one, the price of commodities in the market is not friendly. And when the price of the commodity are not friendly, that means the cost of production is high. When the cost of production are high, the effect will be on the inflation. So we need to work around the cost of production so that the MSME can have a friendly market. And that is why we need the federal government to stand up to its responsibility, especially the CBN. We are having too much of unregulated markets in Nigeria, too much of unregulated markets in Nigeria. That is, we're having a 50 by 50 economy, like I usually say. Nigeria is running on what we call 50 by 50 economy. That is 50% regulated and 50% unregulated. That is the parallel market. We call it in the financial market, we call it the parallel market. The regulated market is becoming more and a bit lesser powerful than the parallel market. So when the parallel market is becoming more powerful than the official market, the inflation rate will be high because the liquidity is too much in the circulation. The money supply is too much in circulation. And when there's too much of money supply in the circulation, what do you have? Too much of funds, too much of liquidity for just few products and services. And that is what the effect we're having on the inflation.
Now let's break down the impact of all of what you have mentioned on the average Nigerian. Talking about inflation, how does it affect the purchasing power of an average Nigerian?
The purchasing power of an average Nigerian is going down drastically day by day. Because, you know, it's one thing to have the purchase power. It's another thing to have the products and services to purchase with that purchasing power. Having the purchasing power in 21st century is not the solution. You can have the liquidity and you're not getting the commodity. So the liquidity is useless. And that is why we're having this kind of figure in the inflation rate, going to more than 28%. As of 2022, we are talking about 20.7%. Now we're in 28.2%. Look at that. More than 8% within less than a year. And that is killing for the economy. So the CBN must understand that the parallel market must be well structured. And if you don't understand that the parallel market is becoming too powerful for the economy, then you can't beat the inflation rate. And the average man on the street will suffer for it, because it means that invisible hands are now controlling the economy. And with the invisible hands are controlling the economy, the CBN hands will be tight. And the federal government will have no option than to follow the parallel market. Do we allow the parallel market to determine the price? The answer is no. But as of today, the parallel market is determining the price. And that is why the inflation is going high. So we need to deal with the parallel market immediately for us not to have escalation anymore in the inflation rate.
If you could just break it down a little bit for us to understand better, what do you mean when you say we need to, structure the parallel market?
Yeah, the parallel market is not being structured by government. It is a market that is not structured. It is an unregulated market. And that means if it's not regulated, that means government is not getting taxes from it. Government is not getting returns from it. So that means government is losing huge revenue on a daily basis. When government is losing revenue, that will result into deficit budget. And when we have deficit budget, what does that mean? The capital expenditure will be suffering. And when there's no capital expenditure, the average infrastructure, the good road network, the security that is needed for the MSME to succeed in the market will not be there. And when those infrastructure are not readily available, the MSME will suffer. And when the MSME are suffering, the Nigerian citizen will suffer more, because there's no one that invests in an economy that is investing to lose. So the onus lies on the government to find a way to structure the parallel market. They must have a bait. What I'm looking at is that let's have a bait for this parallel market. The government should have a bait for the parallel market to be properly structured. Let's give them some concession. They need to have some concession because they're becoming more powerful. And that is one area the CBN is not realizing, that the parallel market is becoming more powerful than the structured market. And that's why I call it a 50 by 50 economy. 50% for the official market and 50% for the parallel market, which should not be. And that is why the government must have what I call a deep data-driven stakeholder engagement for us to have a robust arrangement and a bait for the parallel market to come on board, that when you are bringing $2 billion, allow the $2 billion to come through the CBN. Who will give you this percentage reduction? When you are bringing your goods from the ports, this part of concession will be given to you. When that concession is there, the goods and services price will come down, and Nigerian citizens can begin to smile.
Let's talk about another very critical concept in these inflation conversation. We hear what they call demand-side inflation and supply-side inflation. Regarding what Nigeria is facing right now, which one are we presently experiencing?
The demand is very high. The demand is very high. The demand is getting escalated on a daily basis. And the available resources is reducing on a daily basis. So demand is high. So there's pressure on the market. There's huge pressure on. We are talking about more than 250 million Nigerian citizens. There's a lot of pressure on the market. The demand is very high. And the supply is going down day by day. And why is the supply going down? The cost of production is becoming too expensive. There's no good road network. For instance, take a look at having the 4th Mainland Bridge. Talking about from Ikorodu to Ekpe. That means the goods and services at Ekpe can get to Ikorodu in less than 1 hour. What does that mean? The cost of transportation will go down. The pressure on PMS will come down. So if those infrastructure are not there, the pressure will continue to be on the market. Demand will continue to increase, and the supply will continue to what? To dwindle. And that is why we're having all this challenge. The government must come on the table, must be intentional on changing the narrative. It's not this. We must stop the blame game. The government must come on the table and give the stakeholders the relevant baits for them to come on board. Because What is happening to an average SME in Nigeria is that they are scared of the government. They are scared of the system. That when they open up to the system, maybe the system might use the opportunity against them. So they are not opening up to the system. And they are becoming too powerful. Just like the solid mineral minister said, that too many power brokers are behind the escalation in the solid mineral. And the government is not making enough fund in the solid mineral.
On that note, I'd like to say thank you for your time, Opeoluwa Taiwo, Executive Director, Africa Bridge Initiative. Thank you for your time on the news.
Thank you for having me.